Hey everybody, Michael here for another Gran Turismo Sport video. This is going to be the new daily race B on Dragon Trail Seaside. I'll be using the Corvette C7 Group 3. As you can see, another guy ahead of me using the same car. For this particular race, actually for both, I actually qualified second, which is not too bad. Starting off pretty close to the leader, so there's always room for opportunity to overtake, right? The reason I chose this car, it's actually got a better power to weight ratio than the rest from what I saw in terms of the balance settings for this race. So we're underway right here, following right directly behind the leader, of course, and going into turn one. Didn't want to take it too crazy. I didn't want to brake so late that I'd potentially run him off the track or any sort of thing like that. Just want to make sure it's a nice clean race. So here we are, tucked behind the leader. And the interesting thing, I like taking this corner in fourth gear, but I ended up taking it a little bit too wide, so I go into the gravel trap and I completely botch the race right there. So now I'm on the back foot. I have to fight all the way from P6, try to see what I can do. Plenty of work to be done, and it looks like I might have gotten hit a little bit right there, but I think I just braked a little bit too late because I had so much pressure from the Audi on my right, the Volkswagen right behind me. So now we're on to lap 1, P10. The Audi ended up crashing right there. So P9, so much work to do to even try and get a decent finish out of this. So I cut the clip a little bit, save you some of the time where I'm just driving around track. And here we are back to turn 1 on lap 2, getting really close to that group, and I see a lot of opportunity for me here trying to overtake these guys. So I do end up taking the sister Corvette right there. That one's actually the default livery, or the livery that I took this one from the Discover page. So I try to get a good exit out of this turn here to try and catch up to that Supra in P7. The guys ahead of me and the Supra are fighting for P5, it looks like. So what I try to do is get my very best exit out of these turns, so I have the very best straight line speed, try and catch the Supra. As you can see, I cross him up a little bit right there. Do end up having more speed going into the tight right-hander. Now he does have the inside line, so I have to go and try to go a little bit defensive, but he still ends up dive bombing me right there. Not too bad, clean move. Good move right there, just to give him enough space. And the Corvette also takes advantage, and he's trying to squirm around, trying to get around the Supra, but this is not a place to overtake. These are some of the most dangerous chicanes in on this track. Well, the only chicane on this track, but super dangerous to overtake and to get a good amount of speed through them and exit. So I tried overtaking the Corvette right there, but was unsuccessful, as I ended up trying to go around him, but into the wall. Not the best right there. So I still have a lot of work trying to get ahead of these three guys and fight for P5. Now the Corvette looks like he's about to overtake, I believe, is the Mustang up ahead right there. So same thing, lap 3 going into turn 1 again. These guys are fighting, which is going to leave me plenty of time to catch up, as they'll just be slowing each other down. So the Mustang gets a terrible exit out of turn 3 there, and I just have to try and capitalize as much as I can, stay in the slipstream, and see if he makes any kinds of mistakes based off of the pressure he's giving me. So he goes defensive there, not quite sure why. He wasn't going to be able to make a move on the Corvette anyways, ended up giving me the space to overtake him right there, getting the better exit. And looks like I'm not quite sure if that's the Volkswagen, whoever that might be, in P4 fighting with the Supra. I get another great exit out of the curves there, trying to fight for position against the Corvette in P6. So I'm fighting for P6 right now, going to the tight right-hander. It's going to be really tough. Whoever breaks later is going to get the position. So I try to get it, ended up getting hit by the Mustang there. Kind of threw me off a little bit, but still held it right next to him, going into the chicanes. Was able to get the same exit as him. And the problem here, this is why they are the chicanes of death. Now the other Corvette actually ended up crashing there too, so again I end up wrecking the race for myself in the chicane. That's why they're so difficult to get right. But going into lap 4, same part of the track, I end up catching these guys again. So the Mustang, guy in P6, not quite sure what car that is, and the Supra fighting for position there. Oh, that's the other Corvette right there. Yeah, that's the other Corvette right there from the other part of the race in the beginning. So I end up catching these guys again. The Mustang completely wrecks himself into the wall, allowing me to come through. And now it's time to just try and fight for P5 again. So even after that crash, I was able to catch up to these guys. That's how much fighting for position does end up slowing you down. That's why you really want to try and not fight every single corner, but overtake on the straights where you won't be losing too much time. That's always the best strategy. So going into the final lap right here, Corvette and the Supra are fighting really hard. So going into the first turn, I tried to go outside the Corvette a little bit. What I knew wasn't going to work out, but had to try and get decent line. The Corvette ends up spinning. He went onto the grass, assuming he doesn't have traction control either. That's probably why he ended up wrecking right there. So get a really good amount of speed into from the last corner. So gives me the perfect opportunity to tuck into the slipstream. The guy in P5 right here, and this is where I try my very best to get a solid exit out of here. Just keep it smooth, stay solid on the throttle, don't go too crazy, and I'll end up getting the better of the Supra. So he's gonna be going defensive again, as we saw about 2 laps ago before I crashed out. So here we go. Try to brake. We brake at the exact same time, but he goes defensive, and I get the better line getting out of there, which leaves me the perfect opportunity to overtake. And the race pretty much ends here. I get P5 after crashing, not crashing, but ruining my race about a couple times, 3 times there. So that was a pretty solid race, good fighting there. Now this is the one that was really exciting, because there was a 3-way battle for first pretty much the entire race. So again, qualify second, and sitting here behind the Mercedes, and behind me is the Porsche 911 RSR. And it's been really good racing so far in this daily race in particular, because my driver and sportsmanship rating both went up, so I'm able to get into better lobbies, better drivers that aren't going to be hitting you into every corner that you go to. So here we go. Slipstream really strong against the Mercedes. I'm assuming the straight line speed of the Corvette is really what its strong suit is on this track, since a lot of it is long straights, and it's got really good cornering with the 50-50 weight distribution. So here we go again, 4th gear, trying to get through that corner as fast as I can. Mercedes, pretty solid line there. We go about the same way, and going later on to the first lap, I end up braking a little bit too late, which opens the door to the Porsche there. So I get overtaken, sitting in P3 now, and just have to keep my head down, try and get better exits out of each corner to try and get these guys. So that didn't end up going well. Hit the wall right there. But again, these guys fighting it out, leaving me to clean air to catch up. You know, that's all that really matters sometimes, is don't give up. You know, the guys ahead of you, they're going to be fighting for position, so there's plenty of opportunity to do your best, catch up, and get the best of them, really, of them losing time to each other. So that's one of the things I've always believed in racing. You know, just never give up, and you'll be surprised with the outcome you might get. So here we go. The Mercedes goes defensive and slows down the Porsche, which slows me down going into the chicanes of death here. So as you can see right there, I got a purple sector again, which is on the way to getting the fastest lap. So these guys really slowing each other down. Now something that's kind of rare at times is seeing somebody get a fastest lap that's close to their qualifying time, because you're always going to be in fights like this right here. But I end up going on the inside of both of them. They both brake super late, so I end up getting the overtaking to P1, but the Porsche had a little bit more room to start accelerating, so he will be overtaking me again. And the Mercedes, a lot of slipstream right there. He's going on the outside of the Porsche, on the inside, sorry, and a 3-way battle begins right here. So they both have to go pretty defensive going on the inside, which opens the door to me going on the outside. The Porsche loses traction slightly, which ends up hitting me. No harm, no foul. Racing incident right there. I was able to hold them off. So I have to go defensive again as well. Both Mercedes and I have to go defensive to try and prevent each other from overtaking. The Porsche right behind me. You know, he's only about a couple tenths behind me. I'm 6 tenths behind the Mercedes, and not quite sure why. From my standpoint in the race, in the footage, I didn't see anything that would really make the Mercedes get a penalty, but he ended up getting a half a second penalty, which really is what's, you know, gonna lose in position here. So I decided to stay behind him while he had the penalty. I knew I'd be able to overtake him right there. Don't lose too much time against the Porsche, and I'd be set. So here we go. On to the final lap now. You know, lap 4, I pretty much led the rest of it. But the Mercedes, you might not be able to tell right now, but he actually ended up getting back into P2. He ended up overtaking the Porsche once again, and now he's right behind me. So this guy's quick. You know, this guy definitely had slipstream behind the Porsche, and now he's going to have some again behind me. I have to take a semi-defensive line going into the right-hander just because I wasn't sure if he would dive bomb me. It's the last lap. Sometimes you got to make those final moves, try and make them count. You know, of course you don't want to hit your opponents, but sometimes, you know, if you don't go for the gap, then like Ayrton Senna said, you're no longer a racing driver if you don't go for the gap anymore. So he is definitely gonna take Ayrton's advice, and he's gonna go up my inside, even though I'm going defensive. I let him go. He brakes super late, but beautiful thing is, better exits gonna give you more speed. So I overtake him again for P1 right there, and I take my 7th race win in GT Sport. Absolutely fantastic race. I'd say one of the best races that I've done in GT Sport so far, and I love using the Group 3 cars. They're super quick, and the Corvette brought me to victory in that race. The one before ended up 5th, so still a pretty decent result based off of where I came from. Going off the track a couple times there, but all in all, pretty solid races right there. I've been getting into a lot cleaner races, really good drivers. So it's awesome to see clean driving out there, and I'm gonna just end it right here. The Corvette is a beautiful car, and I love the livery that I have on the C7. It's an amazing car that you definitely want to use if you're gonna be racing Group 3 cars. So would definitely recommend it. I'm gonna end the video off right here. So if you enjoyed, please like, comment, and subscribe. Really appreciate any kind of feedback I can get from you guys. But I'll see you guys in the next one, and take care.